think before we begin, I would like to say something related to meditation. When we talk about meditation, then when we want to learn about meditation or study about meditation, there are so many texts, meditation texts. If you are familiar with Theravada tradition, you should know a text called Visuddhimagga, also path of purification. Very big text, and it was written as a thesis by a monk who came from India to Sri Lanka, and he wanted to prove his he is qualified to translate Sinhalese Tripitaka into English, because in Sri Lanka at that time they had Sinhalese Tripitaka, and then they had Sinhalese detailed books, so he wanted to translate. So he wanted to prove he is able to do that, so he wrote that text, Visuddhimagga. From that time onwards until today, in Sri Lanka, Burma, even in Thailand, mainly in Theravada countries, people use this book, Path of Purification, as a guidebook for Buddhism, mainly as a guide book of meditation, text for meditation. It is a marvelous book. I am nobody to say any comments, but in a way, but whole Theravada tradition accepted it as a very important book. Until today they use. Today also well-known meditation masters from Burma, even from Thailand, they use it. Anyway, my personal understanding is meditation is not based on text. During the Buddha's time, there were no texts. I am not trying to undervalue or bring down the value of this text or any other text. There are so many meditation texts. These texts are helpful. But during the Buddha's time, the Buddha delivered sermons and gave some guidance to meditators. Then that is called Kammatthana. Kammatthana means a method and guidance for meditation. So Buddha's disciples get a method and some guidance. They go practice meditation, achieve some results. When they encounter with some difficulties, or when they are unable to achieve anything, or the progress they expect, they went back to the Buddha and asked the Buddha's help, the Buddha. Then what the Buddha did was, he gave further explanations and asked them to go and meditate. Sometimes he changed the method, given a new method for meditation. So same thing was done by disciples of the Buddha also, who lived during the Buddha's time. They gave a method like Venerable Sariputta when he had disciples and wanted to meditate, go for meditation retreats, Venerable Sariputta gave them Kammatthana or method plus some guidance, then sent to meditate. When they are not able to achieve anything, they went back to Sariputta. Then Sariputta gave some explanations, sometimes even changed methods. So that is how meditation happened during the Buddha's time, and disciples achieved results of meditation. So today, no Buddha, but in a way, the Buddha exists in the form of his teaching. Then we don't have enlightened disciples of the Buddha. That means those who have attained arahantship. Therefore, we have to depend on texts written by some great monks, and we have to depend on discourses preached by the Buddha. There are two aspects. One aspect is meditation text. The other aspect is discourses uttered by the Buddha. Between these two, I prefer discourses uttered by the Buddha. If you try to depend on discourses, better, because discourses means direct teaching of the Buddha, nothing else. Then the texts were written by some disciples. Even there are some texts written by lay people. Nowadays, many lay people also used to write meditation guidebooks or texts. This is a good thing. Anyway, original source to know about meditation and teachings of the Buddha is the Sutra Pitaka. So go to the original sutra, and there are sutras uttered by the Buddha, many sutras which are helpful for meditation. Get some guidance, including Satipatthana Sutta, or sutra uttered by the Buddha about 4 types of mindfulness. So the reason is going to original sources or Sutra Pitaka is important, simple, and do not have too many details. So when we have too many details, we can get misguided also sometimes if we don't understand. So clear guidance, less details, everything is simple in sutras. So pay more attention towards sutra is helpful. People hardly get into difficulties by following sutra teaching. But when a person follow texts, sometimes they go a little bit far away from original teaching and original way, even can go into some difficulties also. But it doesn't mean we should neglect meditation texts, or we should give less value to meditation texts written by others or later part of the history of Buddhism. We should value, but we have to be very careful. We have to absorb the knowledge and put into practice very carefully. I wanted to say this much because I have seen many meditators paying too much attention to Buddhist texts, face difficulties, some meditators. Recently, there was a case also. I don't go for details because some people may be curious to know who is that, what happened, all these things. He, to my knowledge, very, very committed meditator. Practice meditation under a very serious meditation teacher, followed a serious meditation tradition, and followed texts. That teacher taught, I think, 100% the teaching from a meditation text. Teacher based on a meditation text. So this disciple also followed very seriously. At least about 15, a bit more than 15 years. Unfortunate thing is, he found he is not getting enough results, not attaining certain stages mentioned in the textbook. Actually, in discourses, the Buddha did not talk much about stages to attain as a result of meditation. But textbooks give a very important place for attainment. So he has been practicing, committed almost 100%, but he is not seeing results. Now he is very frustrated. Very, very unfortunate thing is when we are frustrated, it is very, very important not to get frustration. When we are frustrated, we try to let it go through the closest one. If a married person, frustration, try to go through the wife. That's what happened to this gentleman also. He chased out the wife from the house. Then he took all the keys. He doesn't give any key. So she cannot go. If she goes, she cannot go out because no keys. When she asks, this man say, you are not a good meditator. I cannot meditate with you. You are a hindrance. You better go. I want to be alone. So the wife is having a very serious problem. She has difficulties to persuade. Even her friends, husband's friends, relatives, all are trying to persuade him. to see things in a different way and let the wife stay. But he doesn't want. So always he think wife is a mara, wife is a hindrance, wife should not to stay in the house. You know, this, we have to look at it not based on the text. If you go to based on certain texts, sometimes you may have that kind of thinking. But that's where texts cannot help. Texts are dangerous in certain ways. We go to original sources. In Buddhist discourses, we can't find this kind of things. If you become a meditator, if you become very serious, it doesn't mean you should chase your wife out. Ban wife entering your house. Where is Buddhism there? This is only one extreme. Buddhism based on teaching of the Buddha, based on compassion. So even to attain enlightenment, you need these two qualities, wisdom and compassion, panya and karuna, or karuna and panya, we can say like that. So if you try to based on some text 100%, we can see the quality which we call, the virtue which we call compassion is missing. You take only the guidance of the text, compassion part you can't find. So, without compassion, nobody can attain enlightenment. Even cannot attain arahantship also. These two qualities, compassion and wisdom, these two qualities must go, in the end, must have a balance of these two qualities, then only a person can attain enlightenment. But sticking to some texts and meditate, become impatient to attain certain things and unable to attain, then put the wife in trouble. So, you don't have to be so serious to practice meditation. That's one thing I can say. It doesn't mean you have to give less importance to meditation. We must give the most important priority of our Buddhist life, Buddhist practices to meditation. No doubt about that. But extreme seriousness, we should not give for that. We must go based on a simple system. So, then people won't get into this kind of problem. So that's, so if we can, based on discourses uttered by the Buddha, we will not go to that kind of extreme. The other thing is, if you have, if this person has compassion, the quality which we call compassion, it is not that he should chase the wife out. He himself leave the house and find a way to practice alone. I don't say even that he will be able to achieve good results, but that is better. So things can happen when we stick to texts without paying much attention towards proper teaching of the Buddha. So we can practice about 15 minutes mindfulness on breathing.